UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I would say, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today on UFO We Want to Know. I took the summer off, and I hope you enjoyed your summer. Before I begin, like I've done in the past, I always want to bring up the fact that in the past, people have been ridiculed, made fun of, and dragged to the media for the past 75 years. I hope I bring some kind of solace to those that are still with us today. What I want to start with is 4 photos. And the 4 photos are very important for you to look at and pay attention because they're crucial in me getting my point across. So we can go to the first photo, and there will be 4 of them. As you can see, this is Starlink. Starlink consists of over 5,000 mass-produced small satellites in low Earth orbit. And it's very important for us to have Starlink, believe me, because there are 1.5 subscribers, and I'm sure it's going to be growing. But Starlink is very important for people to have today, and I hope someday I'll learn more about it. But as you can see, this is a chain of satellites. The next photo is going to be Starlinked again. Now, if you notice the previous one, it looked like a long streak. Well, this is a little bit of a closer photo of it. Now, these are not my photos. These are off the internet. Anybody can download them and look at them, do what they need to do with them. But I've downloaded these, and this gives you an idea of what Starlink looks like. Now, the reason why I wanted to put 4 photos of Starlink is because of the fact that so many people have come up to me and said, well, that could be Starlink. And I tell them, well, have you actually taken a look at Starlink? And they say, yeah, I know all about it. Well, evidently, there's a lot of experts out there because I don't argue with them. The next photo, yet again, you got dots in the sky. They call this Starlink evidently because they seem to be linked together like pearls. And again, it's very important for the audience to pay attention to the photos because the photos are very important for what I'm going to be putting across in this video. The next photo is the last of the 4, because I don't want to bore you on too many of these Starlink photos, but I want you to look at them, see what they look like in the night sky. And I've got hundreds of these also on my own, but I didn't bring them today because I wanted you to see that these photos are actually from the company who studies Starlink. Okay, so I think we got enough of that. So I want to go to the next 2 pictures. The next 2 pictures, I want you to see what the artist, these are artist renditions, the next 2 pictures, what they believe Oumuamua looks like, because that's what this show is about today, Oumuamua. First photo. Oumuamua came here in 2017, October 2017, and within 5 days it left our solar system. And this is according to the scientist. This is according to the scientist. And it's very important for people to understand an artist's rendition is what they believe that they're seeing. No matter how far away it is, they go by different computations. I was an analyst for 25 years, a chemical analyst for 25 years, so I know something about analytical work. You just don't see something and say that's what that is. It takes some work. On the second photo, again, it's a darker image of what they believe Oumuamua looks like. Oumuamua came into our solar system at 87 kilometers per second, or 54 miles per second, whichever you work with. Very important, it's very important to understand that this craft was not like a comet. Comets don't travel that fast. After it passed our sun, it made a loop, and it actually excelled, something a comet wouldn't do. So if this spacecraft, if that's what you want to call it, was propelling itself, the scientists say they couldn't find an entrail. In other words, gaseous film in the back where it would be like a leading edge. They didn't see any of that. So they still couldn't figure out whether or not this was a comet or some kind of I can't even think of that. It's important for people to understand that this, to me, was an alien craft, and I'll explain why. The scientists have said this craft left our solar system 5 days after it arrived. There's a problem here with that. And that problem is, if it was a comet, it wouldn't have accelerated the way it did. The trajectory of this Oumuamua looped around our sun, heading for Earth. Now, the photo I took, and I'm not going to show it right now, I'll show it after the commercial break, but the photo I took resembles Oumuamua. It's going to take a lot of analysis to actually see what I've taken. I can't tell you for sure because I wasn't aboard the spacecraft, but it was, and I believe it was in our orbit. And when you see that, you make your mind up for yourself. If we can go back to that last photo, I want to make another point here. And that point is that the artist's rendition, it looks rocky, doesn't it? It's not like you would think a silver bullet shape, arrows, to cut through the atmosphere. Obviously, in outer space, you don't need aerodynamics. You don't need wings. You don't need elevators. You have something that is propelling itself through a drive that we don't know anything about. I tell people all the time, stop thinking in human terms. These are intelligent beings. These are beings that are not from this planet originally, or some scientists say they could be. I believe they live in our oceans. I believe they live in our mountains. I believe they live underground. That's my point. There's a lot of evidence out there. We've got cave paintings in France that are over 40,000 years old. And they show flying saucers, things you would see on televisions. They also show beings with antennas. And in one of my past shows, I did a show with the Peruvian skulls, and the skull that I have has two holes in the back of the head like antennas. So where did that come from? Now, scientists will say that people like me watch too much TV. The 1950 B movies, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica. Fortunately, I don't watch any of those shows. I didn't care for them myself. I did watch the B movies, but they were your typical flying saucers. But in today's show, I'm going to show you things that are not your typical flying saucers. And by the way, I have caught flying saucers, and in past shows, I've shown them. I want to let you know that after the commercial break, I'm going to be showing you a series of pictures, and I'm going to throw another picture that's different from the ones that we're going to be concentrating on. And the reason I put that one in is very important to let you know that I see a lot of elongated craft, not just one. This isn't just a fluke. I hope that what I bring you, what I show you, I hope that the media doesn't jump to any conclusion, because in the past they've been very good at that. I like open-minded people. I like the journalists who have open minds, and I kind of like the congressional hearings, although I think they need to be, there's got to be more transparency. But I hope in the future that the government comes out and shows us a lot more than what they've been showing us, and also the fact that their budget that they want for next year is going to be a lot more than it was 2023. It's always about the budget for them, and I hope that this is going to be something that we, the taxpayers, get to see. We're going to be taking a commercial break, and I'll be right back. We are back. The thing I was trying to think about was asteroid. I couldn't get that out of my brain. Sometimes my brain doesn't work, and I apologize for that. The next photo we're going to be going to is an actual photo that I took, and this is what I've been babbling about for the first 10 minutes of the show. So we want to go to that photo now, and we're going to do a couple of things with that. And as you can see, this is a panned out shot. On the very bottom, that's my flagpole. I have a light to it. And I know that some are going to say, well, maybe it's a streak of light that's interfering with this, this picture. But I've taken literally thousands of shots with that flagpole and that light. And later on in a show, maybe 2 or 3 shows down, I'm going to show you what happened as far as what I get if I get too close to that light. So this photo, I want you to take a look at it. It's very important for people to see this photo on all sides. Do we have the photo? This right here was on the right side of the photo. Not sure what it was, didn't have any lights on it. Usually when I get a streak like this, there's light in it, and it tells me it might be a helicopter or an airplane. And this is to the upper right. Remember, the light was on the bottom right? Now, as we pan out the next picture, we're going to show to the left. On the bottom, there's another object, similar to the one on the right. But look above that, and what do you see? That, ladies and gentlemen, is abnormal. You can see the stars in the background. So we know that this camera was not shaking. I take my photos on a tripod at night, because if you don't, they're going to be blurry. But this photo here was absolutely still, because if you look at the stars, there's no blemishes on the stars. They're there. The next photo is a close-up of the one we just showed, but it's a close-up. Ladies and gentlemen, you really have to study this to understand that, yeah, not everybody understands what they see in the night sky, even in daylight. But this craft, I believe it was a craft, I believe it was a Oumuamua, was traveling over Pahrump, Nevada on the 17th of July of last month, 2023. Now, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people having a field day with this one, saying a crazy man from Pahrump, Nevada claims he took pictures of Oumuamua, but there's more to come. Next photo, you're going to see a very, very close up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not Starlink. If you can convince me this is Starlink, you know, have at it. But I don't believe this is Starlink. I believe this, ladies and gentlemen, is some kind of craft. If not a Oumuamua, some kind of craft. And how do we know that scientists know that when Oumuamua first came into our solar system, that it came by itself? Even today, if you go on TV, just a month ago, they were saying that Oumuamua is coming back. It's coming back. And it's not alone. How do they know, and I'm talking about the scientists, that when Oumuamua first arrived, it didn't send off smaller scout ships into Earth orbit or around Earth orbit? It's going to take somebody with better equipment than I have. What I'm using, ladies and gentlemen, is the Galaxy S23 Ultra. This is one of the finer phones. It's got 200 megapixels. So it's a very, very good phone. I believe that I've taken a good quality photo of what I believe is a Oumuamua or one of its companions. The next photo you're going to see shows me that it's not alone. This is not the same picture. This right here is another elongated ship that I took also this year. And that one was taken, ladies and gentlemen, on July 26th. And this was taken at 10:13 p.m. 10:13 p.m. This one here was taken, the previous one was taken on July 17th at 10:02 p.m. So 10 o'clock seems to be my focal point here. They were both taken southwest, facing southwest. My flagpole is facing south. So if you come to my driveway and you drive in, my flagpole is in the front yard. And I pointed out towards the west, panning to the left, which would be southwest. So I know exactly where these photos were taken. And I've been going out night after night, taking more photos to see if I can catch more coming that way. Now, I do notice that there's a flight plan going through there where I see airplanes, I see helicopters. Whenever you're out there and you take a picture, and on my camera, I get either a 2 to a 9 second delay. Depending on the delay, it could stretch out that photo. So you don't want to take a picture. If you see a helicopter and you have an 8-9 second delay, it's going to be a light here. If it's going right to left, it's going to have a light and then it's going to have a streak. The photos I showed you don't have streaks. If we can go back to another photo. Take a look at this. There's no light source. I couldn't find one. Now on my next show, next week, I'm going to concentrate on this particular object because it was, to me, being elongated, it's very similar to the first one. But I want to show you how many photos I have of this one. And I'll give you a pretty good idea of what we're looking at. Now, scientists, ladies and gentlemen, are confused. Some of them have come out and said, like Avi Loeb from Harvard, he's come out and said that this could be an alien ship, disguised, cloaked, whatever they want to call it. I can appreciate him, and I have actually written to him. And I believe that he's onto something. He's open-minded. Very, very intelligent man. And I respect him for that. And he's the only one so far that has actually said something that these are possibly aliens. We can't say, yeah, these are alien because we haven't met them. They haven't come down to Earth to meet us. But he's at least been able to say, yeah, these could be alien ships in disguise. Why else would a ship like a Oumuamua be able to transition through our solar system, make a loop by the sun, and then leave at a speed that nothing else out there can reach? It's not a comet. I believe that Oumuamua is a spaceship. Going on to what I believe, and this is an artist rendition, what I believe scientists, where they got that point from, a spaceship. It's rocky, elongated. The next photo shows what they believe is a spaceship inside. I have 3 of these photos all together. The next one, that could be an alien ship inside of it. Good possibility. This could be cloaking information here, ladies and gentlemen, that we're looking at. Because we've had pilots say that these craft interfere with our software system in their jet fighters. The New Horizon was sent out in the Kuiper Belt, and it came across a large object in the Kuiper Belt on just passing Pluto, and they said that the New Horizon instruments went out. They lost contact with it when it got near to this object. And then when it left the object, it reappeared. All the information reappeared. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is something that scientists have said. This isn't something I'm saying. This is something that is documented. That tells you a lot, that there are some scientists out there who will say, yes, there is something out there that we have to get to the bottom to. But and as long as the government refuses to come clean, why should we be giving them billions and billions of dollars? NASA is asking for $27 billion for 2024. There's one thing that confuses me, and I've said this before. We don't have a shuttle fleet. It took $1.5 billion to have a shuttle take off from Cape Canaveral. What do they need $27 billion for? When they were running NASA with the shuttle force, they were in the $20 billion. But they're asking for $7 billion more. It doesn't make sense to me as a taxpayer. It doesn't make sense to me. And in this show, I'm always for the taxpayer. I want to know where my money is going. Now, there's been question that they utilize a lot of the money for black op projects. And I understand we have to keep our secrecy. This is the United States of America. We have the finest ships, finest planes, finest Army, finest Marines in the world. Coast Guard, you name it. Now they have the Space Force, and they're going to be asking for billions of dollars for that. On the last photo I want to show you, I do a comparison, the artist rendition and my photo. And ladies and gentlemen, they're both elongated. They're both unusual. They're both not Starlink. So the only thing I can say is make up your own mind. I believe this could be a Oumuamua. I would like for you to write in, call in, let me know what you think on UFOWeWantToKnow@gmail.com. It's very important for me to get feedback from you. And to the world out there, if this is a Oumuamua, it's already here. It hasn't left. It never has left. And I like to hear from the scientists. It's very important. With that, I'd like to say good night, and thank you for watching.